For wrestling fans, getting in the mindset of a non-wrestling fan is rather difficult, and oftentimes we find ourselves wondering who in the world of professional wrestling has mainstream appeal, has crossover potential, and is a superstar beyond that of just what wrestling fans know. So I decided, why not conduct a little experiment and go beyond the key demo to find out what a specific group knows about professional wrestlers. Because today... Alright, so this is just going to be a fun one for the holidays, and I've actually wanted to do something like this for a while now. Okay, so how does this work? Well, I talked to some friends of mine, and I had them ask their wives, their girlfriends, or their fiancé how many professional wrestlers can they name. Then I took all of our answers, pulled them together, and found out which wrestlers came out on top. And the results were pretty interesting. But before we get into those results, allow me to say congratulations to Tristan Law's fiancé, who managed an amazing 67 answers. However, as impressive as that is, 67 is only second place, because the top spot goes to Ryan from Wrestling Bio's other half, who named... like every professional wrestler ever. I'm pretty sure she named just about everyone. Like everyone. So kudos to you two gentlemen for finding women who have achieved unicorn status. Anyway, with that being said, let's get into the list. Alexa Bliss. First, since we did ask the ladies, let's start by talking about the ladies of wrestling that were mentioned, because there were several. Now, they all tied with 3 apiece, but they were mentioned by different women. And starting us off is none other than Alexa Bliss, who was mentioned 3 separate times and was also remembered once because of how saying her name set off Amazon's Alexa. Bayley. Next we have Bayley, who is correctly referred to as Bayley twice, and was also once called Ponytail Sweatband Girl. Yeah, some interpretation was definitely needed for a few of these. Asuka and Becky Lynch. The other 2 women that were named were Becky Lynch and Asuka, or as Frank Mandolini's girlfriend calls them, the 2 that you like, the redhead and the other Japanese one with all the different colored hair. Alright, and with that being said, let's move on to the men's division. The Miz. The next 5 male entries all received 3 answers each as well, and the first one up is The Miz, who was remembered by at least one participant due to his time on MTV's The Real World. Cody Rhodes. Next up is AEW's own Cody Rhodes, who was only referred to by that name once, as he was also called Stardust, and the one that you have the photo with, he's like a businessman. Hey, count it if it goes, alright? Daniel Bryan. Also only accurately named once, he was also called Danny O'Brien, and I'm quoting here, he was also referred to as the hot vegan one. Look, I'm just saying the answers as they were given to me, okay? Andre the Giant. Finally, someone whose name was said correctly in its entirety all 3 times, Andre the Giant. And I'm sure his performance in The Princess Bride probably had something to do with that. But you know what? That's perfectly fine by me. Stone Cold Steve Austin. Accurately called Steve Austin twice and was once referred to by his whole name, Stone Cold Steve Austin. John Cena. And now on to the next level, and another professional wrestler who was accurately identified all across the board. And that wrestler is John Cena. Perhaps his recent run in film has caused this, but either way, for all those wrestling fans out there who absolutely hate John Cena and think that he isn't a star at all, well, this is probably not what you wanted to hear now, is it? The Undertaker. Next up, we have The Undertaker, someone else who was properly named by everyone, eventually, even though one person did first call him the Grim Reaper, but you know what, that's close enough. Hulk Hogan. And now we're at the big time. With a grand total of 5 answers, we have Hulk Hogan. Now, I do suspect that Albert Albanese might be lying about this one, because he claims that his girlfriend didn't know who Hulk Hogan was. I find that pretty convenient, Albert. Pretty convenient indeed. But again, I just gotta take the answers as they were given. Oh, and speaking of as they were given, Hulk Hogan was referred to once as the blonde bad one from the 80s. Honorable mentions. Alright, now before we get to that number one spot, I do want to take a quick time out to mention some of my personal favorite answers that didn't quite make the list. And they are the insane clown people, they're like twins or brothers or something, that little Torito guy, Mr. Rich, who I can only guess is Ted DiBiase, and the butt guy, Rashiki. Okay, so now, on to number one. The Rock. And finally, no surprise here, but the top spot goes to The Rock, who was named by 6 out of the 7 women asked. Interestingly enough, he was never referred to once as Dwayne Johnson, he was just simply The Rock. Well, except for one answer where he was the Moana guy. But either way, there you have it. The most recognized wrestler for today's list is The Rock. Now, obviously, this was just a really small sample size, so maybe you need to conduct your own little experiment. Go ahead and ask all the non-wrestling fans in your life how many professional wrestlers can they name, and find out what fun answers you get, and let me know down in the comments what they say. And I also want to thank all the women for participating, as well as thanking all of my Patreon supporters for all of their help during this trying year, as well as also thanking you for watching this video, and liking this video, and subscribing to this channel. Merry Christmas to all, and as always, Dave knows.